Good afternoon. My name is Marissa from Next Level Consulting, and you probably already know that because you're in the Small Business Support Facebook group. And so as promised today, I am talking about marketing strategies, and that's essentially the meat and potatoes part of your marketing plan. So there's 4 different steps, and sometimes this can get a little bit overwhelming for small businesses because there's a lot of marketing terminology that's used. And I just want to let you know that today I'm going to break all of that down. So if these words are intimidating to you, don't worry about that. And also, I apologize in advance. The subtext is very small and my handwriting is not that great. So apologies for that. But so the first thing that the reason why I did this is because I feel like the resources that are available for small businesses in terms of how to pick a marketing strategy or how to write a marketing plan are kind of abysmal. There's not a lot out there. So if you do research on marketing strategies, there's a lot of times it's like, oh, there's leads and then there's sales qualified leads, and marketing departments need to be in coordination with the sales departments. And that doesn't apply to us because sometimes it's just us or a small group of us. So I'm going to go through it and take these kind of complicated words or marketing terms and break it down into very easy to understand, like normal people language. So first thing first is you want to start with a goal, which is really easy. And that is you want to have a business objective. And most of the time, I don't have my money gun today, but most of the time small businesses just want more money. That's all we want. We want to bring more money in, and we don't really care how it happens. So that is a good goal, but we need to be maybe a little bit more specific. So if you can determine how much money that you want to make, maybe it's over the year, or perhaps you can say where you want more money to come from. So if you use the example of a chiropractor, they might be maxed out in terms of office visits per week. They might not be able to bring in any more patients during the week without, like really backing up their scheduling or something like that. But they could maybe bring in more money from supplements, like if they sell supplements or retail in their office. So they could have a business objective or a marketing goal of selling an extra $10,000 that year in supplements or retail. So I have $10,000 from new business, but obviously you could schedule, or you can change new business to whatever is applicable. So if you're having trouble determining like what your marketing goal should be, if you're very new in this process, something that you can do is think about what is the most enjoyable part of the work that you do. Like if you could figure out how to market your favorite thing, maybe that's what you focus on is the piece that you love the most, or you could think about what makes you the most money, and then you could focus your efforts on that. So there's a couple of different ways to strategize it. And a goal is just simply what you want. Okay, so nothing real crazy there. Goals are pretty easy for most people to understand. So, oops, I missed my banner. So the first thing that you want to do is set a goal. So after that, the next thing that we want to do is determine your strategy. So the strategy is the how. So this is how you will get what you want. Okay. The thing about strategies is that you know how you want to market your business. You know the way that you want to bring people in. And I feel like a lot of small business owners and solopreneurs think that they don't know and they need an expert to tell them. And a lot of times what happens is they spend some money and then they get bad advice and it doesn't work out. And I think that really small business owners just need to trust their intuition. So what are the best strategies for your business. But one thing that you can do is talk to your friends, talk to a mastermind group or a peer group or a coach or a mentor or somebody, and just like throw them out to the group and get some ideas that way. Say, I'm thinking about doing this. Would that be good for you? Or ask your audience on Facebook some questions that you think might be relevant. Because a lot of times what happens is, as business owners, we have we can see 60% of our world, or whatever you want to call it. We get 60%. The other 40% is behind us and we can't see that. So sometimes friends or peer groups can help expose some of those things. So strategies, these are just the how are we going to get what we want. And so you can't probably see these as well, but it says social, newspaper, video, referrals are a big one for small businesses. Paid advertising is another option. Email marketing, workshops, in-person workshops are very popular for some industries. Webinars are very popular for online businesses. And then, just content marketing and content creation are all, there's a bunch of other ones. This is just a couple of options here. And so you're just kind of trying to decide, how am I going to get to my goal of making $10,000 more from supplements? So when I say that, you can be like, okay, well, I'm not doing paid. I don't want to invest the time or work with an agency. I'm not doing newspaper because my people don't read the newspaper. And maybe this is like video or TV. I'm not doing that. Not doing webinars because I don't want to learn how to do a webinar. I don't have the time to do a bunch of content creation, and I don't want to hire someone and train them how to do that. So referrals are good for me. Social is good for me. And I could do email, but I'm not gonna worry about that. Those are my 3 different strategies that I want to use for this objective. Okay. So then what you need to do is just get a little bit more specific. So this is picking objectives. We just did the how. So objectives are like the steps, STEPS, to how. So this is their SMART, and everybody probably knows what that means. That's the specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So you just want to be as specific as you can. And for a lot of people, steps 3 and 4 might get combined together, and that's totally fine. We want to make this as easy as possible. So if that's what ends up happening for you, that's great. So in terms of the example that I just used, we have referrals. So like I said, referrals are a big one for small businesses. So how do you set marketing objectives for like a referral-based business? Well, maybe you decide that you want 2 referrals per week. And so this is a little different than with the retail sales. Like you might not ask for referrals for supplements, but you could. I mean, there's a lot of MLM people out there who ask for referrals in order to sell supplements or to sell makeup or to sell cleaning products or whatever. So you certainly could. This is definitely something you could do. And your objectives might be like, I want to ask for 2 referrals a week. And the more specific you are in your goal, the more specific you can be in your objective. So you can kind of reverse engineer it, and you'll know that I need 2 referrals a week, or like I can ask for 2 referrals a week, and maybe you get 1 per month. And if you get 1 customer per month that spends $1,000, then you're pretty much to your goal. So you'll know you can adjust how many you ask for and how many you get based on what you think is going to get you to your goal. So that's why the more specific you are here, the better that your objectives are going to be, the more effective this whole plan will be. And then next week, we'll talk about like the analytics and how to measure all that stuff. So in terms of like our other strategies that we picked, the other one was workshops. So this is, again, maybe workshop is not the right term to use if it's for retail sales, like in our first example, but maybe it's like a vendor show. How many vendor shows do you have to do in order to get to your goal? So maybe your objective is 1 workshop per quarter, and you're hoping to get what is 10,000 divided $2,500 divided by, so that would be, you want to sell $2,500 at each of these vendor shows, or you could reduce that if you plan to get sales from referrals. So, and then the other thing is social. We said we wanted to use social to get new business or to get money from selling retail. And so you could obviously post more about the supplements and who you're trying, targeting the people that you're trying to sell to, as well as you can do giveaways and then directly message the people who like are involved with who commented and who participate in the giveaway, because that is like the ideal client is everybody who's participating in that. So that's the objectives. That's the steps. I call those the steps to the how. And this last one is picking your tactics. And I feel like my banner is going to cover it up, but maybe I can do this. Okay. So picking your tactics. Tactics are the tools that you use. And so actually this whole big process, like I have my own little, maybe somebody's already picked it, but I didn't see it. But this whole little like metaphor that I like to use that kind of helps, should use a different color, that makes sense to me when you're picking out or trying to understand what these things are. So a goal might be win the war. Okay, overall, we're just trying to win the war. Okay, that's what we're doing. Our strategy is going to be, we're saying this is how we'll win the war. Your objectives are like how you're going to win battles, so like in a war sense, you're going to fight battles. Probably that's what that would be your strategy. So how are you going to win those battles? And then the last thing is which weapons will you use to win the battles that are going to help you win the war? So tools are like, which tools are you going to use? So for referrals, how are you going to get referrals? Which tools or weapons do you want to use to get referrals? You can ask people in person. You can ask people via email. You can ask people on social. You could send thank you cards and ask them from snail mail. So which tools do you want to use in order to ask for referrals? And then in terms of workshops, so you want to host workshops or vendor shows. Which vendor shows are you going to do? Where are you going to host your workshops? Like, what are your workshops going to be on? Maybe you decide you want to do, and again, this kind of goes back up, like one workshop per quarter. How many people do you want to be there? Try and be specific. And then the last one is like social. Maybe you decide you want to do the social giveaways. You want to do one per quarter. What are you going to give away? How are you going to follow up with the people who participate? Like how are you going to try and convert the audience or the ideal client into someone who buys supplements? Like how are you going to try and make that turnover for you? So those are the tactics, which are the tools or the weapons that you want to use. So that is the 4 steps to picking a marketing strategy or writing a marketing plan for your small business. Some of these terms, like if you Google them on the internet, a lot of times places will use them interchangeably. Some people will use the word or like flip-flop objectives and tactics, which can be really confusing. So that's why I kind of tried to write it out like this. So you just have to pick out what you want, determine a strategy, determine objectives, or like how the steps to how you want to get, or listen, I'm trying to tell people how to not get confused. You want to pick a goal, then determine how you want to get to the goal. Then you pick out the steps to get to the how, and then you pick out the tools that you want to use to get there. So there was one other thing that I was going to tell you, and it's escaping me right now, which is too bad. But like I said, sometimes the articles online are very ambiguous, or they flip-flop the terms and stuff like that. So, I remembered what I wanted to share. So the thing that you can do is like, say that you're going through this process. This is universally applicable, this framework. So you can say, I want to host a workshop and I want 25 people to come. How do I get 25 people to come to my workshop? Then you just go through, okay, the goal is 25 people come to my workshop. What strategy am I going to use to get people to come to my workshop? Maybe it's like partnering with local businesses. Maybe you ask people on social media. What are your objectives? Like ask 2 businesses a month, or ask to share it. ask your friends to sign up and share the event on Facebook, or, whatever your objectives are. And then your tactics, like what are the tools that you're going to use? So maybe it's influencer marketing, like by asking your friends, so you pick 2 friends and then they share it out 2 times a month. So you can use it to anything. I could do it for this presentation, like what my goal is. Don't be boring. Okay. What's my strategy? How am I going to do that? Well, I could do a bunch of things. I could talk really fast. I could wear costumes. I could wear a unibrow. I could use props, whatever I wanted to do. What are my objectives? Like maybe I decide I want to use props. I'm going to use props twice in the presentation. And then my tactics, I would use my money gun if I was using props as an example for this. So I hope this was helpful. If you have questions or any of it was unclear, please let me know. And I will post a resource, like a little infographic guide for you. But feel free to ask questions, message me, and we will come back next week with which analytics to use to measure some of the stuff that you set today. Okay, thanks so much for watching.